It started with something small. It always does, doesn't it? She said she had to work late, quarter-in reporting, she claimed. There had been late nights before, of course. We'd been married 8 years, and somewhere along the line, I'd stopped asking questions when she stayed after hours. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who hovered, who doubted. I took her at her word because I believed love should be rooted in trust. Or maybe because I didn't want to know what might lie beyond that. It was a Thursday night. The house was too quiet, like it had been lately. The dogs were curled up by the sliding door. Our daughter's toys were still scattered around the living room, and the news buzzed faintly from the TV, though I wasn't watching. I glanced at the clock, 9:42 p.m. She should have been wrapping up soon. I called her. She answered on the third ring, breathless. "Hey," she said, the background noise muffled and indistinct. "Can I call you back in a few? I'm just finishing something." I was about to say sure, of course, no problem. But then I heard it. Laughter. A man's laughter, close, intimate, like he was right beside her. And then a whisper. "Low, Male," close to the phone. I froze. Something in my chest did this strange, stuttering collapse, like a heartbeat skipping a step it couldn't quite recover from. It was such a soft sound, but it hit me like a freight train. Not because of what was said. I couldn't make out the words, but because of the tone. Familiar. Comfortable. Too comfortable. She didn't address it. She just kept talking. "Babe, I really have to go, okay? I'll be home in an hour." And before I could respond, she hung up. I stared at the phone in my hand. Something about that call, it didn't sit right. Not just the voice, but her voice. Hurried, clipped, not like her usual self. I've learned to trust that instinct. The subtle shift in a person you know down to their size and footsteps. So I hit record. I replayed the call, over and over. That background laugh. That whisper. Her voice, too sweet, too careful. I didn't sleep that night. She came home just after 11, kissed my forehead, said, "Sorry it went so long." She smelled different. Not perfume exactly. More like cologne and air that wasn't ours. Her hair was a little out of place, like it had been brushed quickly. Her laptop bag was slung carelessly on her shoulder. I didn't say anything. I just watched her walk past me like nothing had happened. And maybe nothing had. Maybe it was all in my head. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The next morning, I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee, her favorite mug with the chip on the handle. I played it cool. That's something I learned from my father. Never raise your voice when you're trying to get the truth. Quiet gets under the skin faster than shouting ever will. She walked in, still half asleep, robe hanging loose at the shoulders. "Wow," she said, smiling. "What's the occasion?" "Just felt like making breakfast," I replied. "Sit down." She did. I poured her coffee, passed the toast. She thanked me with a peck on the cheek. Then I pulled my phone from my pocket, placed it on the table, and hit play. The moment her voice came through the speaker, her hand froze mid-bite. I watched her eyes. That's where truth lives. Not in the mouth. The mouth lies for sport. But the eyes? The eyes forget to rehearse. Her pupils dilated. Her lips parted slightly. And when the man's whisper came through the recording, she blinked, slow, deliberate, like her brain needed time to reload the mask. She reached for her mug, but her hand was trembling. "What is this?" I didn't answer. I just let the recording play to the end. Her face, God, I wish I could say I didn't recognize it. But I did. I'd seen it once before, back when she got caught sneaking a cigarette in college, swearing she was just holding it for a friend. The same face. A mix of defiance and panic. A liar trying to decide which direction the lie should run. She cleared her throat. "That was just someone in the office. We were working late. Maybe he said something stupid. I don't even remember." "You're reading into this, babe." I raised an eyebrow. "You don't remember who laughed or what he said when you were in the room with him an hour before you got home?" Her jaw tensed. "Are you seriously accusing me of something? Based on a laugh?" "No," I said. "I'm asking you why you sound like you're lying." She pushed the chair back. Hard. "I can't do this with you right now. I have a meeting in an hour." And just like that, she stood and walked upstairs. I didn't follow. I sat there, listening to the silence again. The silence always tells the truth if you let it linger long enough. That morning, something in me shifted. I didn't know yet what I was going to do, or what she had really done. But I knew the version of her I'd believed in. Trusted blindly, defended to my friends, held on to even as the warmth faded. That version didn't exist anymore. There was just this version now. And whatever came next, I had to be ready for it. The days after that morning passed like a dream I couldn't wake up from. You know that feeling? When your body's going through the motions, shower, coffee, emails, but your mind's somewhere else entirely, watching from behind a glass wall. She pretended nothing happened. That was the part that rattled me the most. She still kissed me goodbye before work. Still texted midday like she used to. "How's your day going, love?" As if the phone hadn't betrayed her just days before. I didn't confront her again. I didn't push. I just started watching. Not like some jealous lunatic checking her phone or tailing her in a rental car. No, I mean really watching. People show you who they are when they think you're not looking. The first crack came 3 days later. She said she had another late night coming up. Her voice was too casual, rehearsed. She didn't look at me when she said it, just kept her eyes on the fridge as she grabbed a yogurt. "Big client. Presentation tomorrow," she said. "I might not be home until 10. I just nodded. Okay. And that was it. No questioning. No suspicion. That's what made her drop her guard. I wasn't reacting the way she expected, and that's when people start slipping. She didn't realize I had installed a call recorder on the landline. One of those old digital models that stores everything. We hardly used it anymore, but she still made calls from it when she thought she needed privacy. I guess old habits die hard. That night, around 9:15, I heard her voice echoing from the study. She thought I was in the garage. I had turned off the engine of my car halfway down the street and walked the rest of the way home so she wouldn't hear me come in. I slipped through the side door and just listened. She was laughing. That same laugh I heard in the recording. Only this time, there was no mistaking the tone. It wasn't professional. It wasn't friendly. It was soft, playful, the kind of laugh that used to be mine. Then came his voice, clearer this time. "God, you looked incredible today. That skirt? I couldn't stop thinking about it after you left." Silence. Then her voice, lower than usual. "You're bad. If anyone heard you, well, they'd be jealous." She didn't argue. I stood there in the hallway, hand clenched around the frame of the door. Not barging in. Not shouting. Just letting the sound of it break whatever pieces of denial were still clinging to my ribs. I waited until the next morning to listen to the full recording. It was short, 7 minutes, but it was all I needed. They talked like they'd known each other for years, not months. Inside jokes. Shared frustrations. Plans. Plans that didn't include me. That Saturday, I told her I'd be out for a few hours, helping a friend move. She kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. Instead, I drove to a quiet cafe on the other side of town, opened my laptop, and started sorting through financial records. There's something about betrayal that makes you hyper-aware of the mundane. I suddenly started noticing charges I'd ignored before. Dinners at places we'd never been. Rideshare trips at odd hours. An unfamiliar hotel listed twice in the same month. I cross-referenced the dates with her calendar. One of the charges matched a night she told me she was at a company retreat. The other was the night she came home early because her meeting got canceled. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I called a lawyer. Not to file, just to ask questions. Quiet ones. Then I called a friend of mine who worked in IT security. He owed me a favor. I asked if he could help me recover deleted messages from our shared cloud backup. He said it would take a few days. I went home that night and made her favorite dinner. Poured her favorite wine. Lit candles. She smiled at me like we were still us. And I watched her face carefully. People think heartbreak is loud. But it's not. It's quiet. It's watching someone you love smile at you with a mouth that's already kissing someone else behind your back. That night, I lay awake beside her. Her breathing slow. Calm. Mine anything but. I stared at the ceiling, the hum of betrayal thick in the silence between us. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was just grieving. Grieving the version of her I married. The one who used to dance barefoot in our kitchen, who whispered secrets to me in the dark, who once cried on our wedding night and said she couldn't believe she'd found someone like me. Where did that woman go? Was she even real? The next morning, I received an email from my friend. The subject line read, "You're going to want to sit down." I opened it. My heart didn't race. It didn't sink. It just stopped. The attachment contained a folder. Inside, screenshots of text messages, some innocuous, most not. One of them was from her, dated 3 weeks ago. It read, "He's clueless. I played the sweet wife for so long. I think he's genuinely blind. I almost feel bad. Almost. Almost. Almost." That word kept ringing in my head like a cracked bell. Almost. Almost honest. Almost loyal. Almost the woman I thought I married. I sat there at the kitchen table, the same one where we used to plan our future, and realized I was planning something very different now. Not revenge. Not some dramatic reveal. Just the truth. The kind you don't scream. The kind you serve cold over breakfast. The plan wasn't about catching her. I already had everything I needed. It was about clarity. About showing her who I had become in the quiet. So the next Sunday, I set the scene. I woke early, before her, made pancakes, blueberry, the kind she always said reminded her of Vermont. The house was still, golden with morning light. The kind of morning that pretends everything's okay. She wandered in around 9, sleepy-eyed, wearing one of my old shirts. It should have meant something, the way it used to. But that morning, it was just cloth. She kissed me, said, "You're spoiling me lately." I smiled. "Sit down." I poured coffee, sat across from her, and slid my phone onto the table again. Her smile faltered, just for a second, like déjà vu tapping her on the shoulder. "Remember that call?" I said. She nodded, carefully. "Yeah. This time," I told her, "I want you to hear what I heard." I tapped the screen. The recording began, only it wasn't the one she remembered. This one had no plausible deniability. It was her voice, saying his name. Then his voice, clearer now, unmistakably familiar. A man I'd met once at her office party, Jason, mid-30s, tall, wore loafers with no socks, and told me he was in strategy. "You're such a good liar," Jason said in the clip. Her voice, low. "I've had practice." Then laughter. Shared, intimate. There was even a kiss, faint but there. Sound has a way of making truth inescapable. When the clip ended, I looked at her. No accusation in my eyes. Just that cold, deliberate stillness you learn when someone's been peeling your trust away layer by layer. She didn't speak, didn't deny it. Just sat back in her chair, arms crossed like she was shielding herself from a winter that had only just arrived. "I don't even know where to start," she finally whispered. "Start with the truth," I said. But she didn't. She started with the timeline, the blame, the stress of work, how we drifted, how I was always checked out. All the classics. And I listened, not because I believed any of it, but because I needed to hear the last lies fall out of her mouth. I needed to know they were finally said. When she stopped talking, I pushed another envelope toward her. Bank records. The charges. The texts. Everything. Her eyes skimmed the pages, and I watched the oxygen leave her body. "You've been tracking me," she said. "No," I replied. "I've been seeing you. For the first time in a long time." She said she was sorry. Cried even. Reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't squeeze back. "I'm not going to yell," I told her. "I'm not going to pack a bag or sleep in a motel. But I am going to ask you something. One thing." She nodded. "Why did you stay, if you didn't love me anymore?" Her mouth opened, but no sound came. It was the first time in weeks that her face looked truly honest. Not sad, not angry, just ashamed. "I guess," she said slowly, "because it was easier than starting over." That hurt more than the affair. Easier. I nodded, stood, and poured another cup of coffee. My hands were steady, my voice calm. She asked if we could work through it. And I told her the truth. "I think I've already started over. You just didn't see it." That week, I moved into a condo I'd quietly purchased under my name months ago. I didn't storm out. I didn't post anything online. I just left. She didn't fight it. 3 months later, I filed for divorce. She didn't contest it. The process was civil, cold, clean. She cried when she signed the papers. I didn't. I think a part of me had been grieving the end of us long before I hit record that night. I keep that audio file still. Not because I need proof. Not anymore. But because sometimes, when doubt creeps in, when I start asking if maybe I overreacted, or if I should have tried harder, I play the first few seconds. That laugh. That whisper. It reminds me that sometimes the truth doesn't scream. It slips in through the smallest crack and waits to be heard. And when you finally hear it, you can never unhear it again.